eye sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day. They're the eyes of a man whose lust knows no bounds.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Horny Creek. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my wife, Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It's December 15th, 1999.
It is. This month is flying by.
Hell yeah. Christmas is coming.
The goose is getting fat.
Yeah, please put a penny in Dawson's hat. No Pacey this episode.
Oh my god.
Paceyless.
Really?
Yeah, because he's not going to college.
Well,
or
I mean, I
whatever.
know he wasn't there with them, but we didn't flash to him or anything at any point.
No, nobody flashed him.
Huh. Because I don't want to make the same mistake we made last week, which, guys, we apologize. We
forgot to talk
forgot
about
about Jack.
His storyline, his storyline this week, which we will talk about.
Yes.
Sorry, Jack lovers out there. I believe they call them what? Jack-ons?
No. I knew where you were going. Just don't do it.
Yeah, last episode we were one Jack off.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we we'll talk about his storyline from last week when we talk about his storyline from this week.
All right.
Because it dovetails a little bit with it. But yeah, no Pacey because I guess he's not going to college or whatever. I don't know. But the gang...
Or he didn't want to spend a weekend with Andy.
Yeah, maybe. The gang visits prestigious Boston College. Not Boston College, the college. A prestigious college in Boston that I guess for legal reasons they can't call Harvard.
You really think it was supposed to be Harvard?
Yes. What else was it supposed to be?
I don't know.
Amherst?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the universities.
It was supposed to be Dorchester University.
So you think that, I didn't do the away from home college thing like you did.
Yeah.
So I
didn't go to Harvard, though.
No, but do they do this? Do they just host high school students come stay with people in the dorms? That seems really unsafe.
Yep.
That seems like the way a lot of high school girls will get victimized.
Well, that's why you had a rape newsletter.
That is true.
It's, what was it called? Rape Today or something like that? The Rape Times.
It was like
the rapes that are fit to print.
It was like the weekly crime report.
Oh my god. It was the Weekly World News. Bad boy rapes another college girl.
God.
So it's, I mean, we're not making fun of rape victims, obviously, but horrible thing. I mean, just I don't know, you can cry about it or laugh about it, I guess. Just really disturbing that
the number of rapes that happened on campus.
So many on campus, they needed a fucking paper for it. It's weird.
I don't even know what was the purpose of I guess to scare us.
Yeah, I don't know.
To make sure we were on guard. I mean, I carried pepper spray. So.
It didn't seem to be deterring the rapists.
Right?
Maybe they were like, hey, I got the paper this week.
There were no mugshots along with it.
God. No, but they knew. They would know. They'd know who they were.
But we wouldn't, I'm saying.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like Batman. Anyway, so they go to a prestigious Boston university.
They probably don't have a rape newsletter there.
Probably Harvard. Oh, you don't think so?
No.
Okay.
The prestigious university, they're not going to admit that shit happens.
Well, no, they're not going to admit it for sure.
This was the downtown Detroit university that I was at.
Okay, I thought you were saying it doesn't happen.
Oh, of
there.
cour's it happens.
They wouldn't, yeah.
They just pay the women off.
Yeah, they'd paper under it. Now, this side never happened,
Here's $10,000.
Right.
Shh.
Yeah. You don't want to drive into the fucking Chappaquiddick River or lake, whatever it was. I don't know.
Wow.
Wherever Kennedy killed that
That's
girl.
awful. Moving on. But speaking of rape, I'm sorry, I've got to say this. Okay, so Joey.
Yeah. Who's Joey?
Let's talk about
I thought we were
Joey.
talking about Friends for a second.
What? Let's talk.
How you doing?
Let's talk about Joey for a
What
second.
if Joey from Friends showed up on this show? That would be great. My name's Joey, too. I'm here to meet his fellow Joey.
That'd be really bizarre.
All right, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, they're all going to see this campus, whatever, and they're staying with students on campus. And Joey goes to meet her dorm mate for the weekend.
This was annoying.
And the dude's name was AJ.
Yeah.
And it was a dude.
And they thought, so we find out that her name on the thing or whatever was Potter Joseph.
Potter, comma Joseph, because it cut off. I'm sure. It's not like they actually thought she was Joseph. So they still fucked up royally.
Yeah, and they should pay for this.
How?
I don't know. Let her in for free. I don't know.
But yeah, so she's staying with a dude in his dorm room all weekend. That doesn't seem like a great idea. That seems like something the college would be liable if something happened.
Absolutely.
And she was going to go, like, fix it, and he's like, well, this is just what college is like.
Yeah.
Like, he seemed kind of skeezy.
Yeah.
He was trying to get her to stay.
Exactly.
Like, I was like, you should have let her go, dude.
College is like, men and women sleeping next to each other. I mean, it just happens.
But, there were no women in his room. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. And then later that night, well, college is about my penis inside of you.
Exactly.
You're talking about Discount Dawson? That's who he is. He's Discount Dawson.
You think?
He looks like Dawson.
I mean, he has a similar haircut.
It's weird because he looks like a younger version of Dawson, even though he's supposed to be an older version of Dawson.
That's funny.
I guess.
He does, though. Well, I'm sure that actor is younger than James Van Der Beek.
They do. Yeah, they do have similar haircuts. I think that's part of it. But that's what I thought the entire time. I'm like, it's Discount Dawson. AJ, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, and like I've never met a girl named AJ.
No, I don't think that he did say our gender non-specific names or whatever, but I don't think the college thought that AJ was the girl. I think they thought that
Joey was the
Joey
boy.
was the girl. Because if they thought he was a girl and she was a boy, they still wouldn't put them together.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think happened. But isn't there like don't you like print like your gender or whatever on there? Like,
you would think.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so this was an annoying situation for me because it was the very clear like TV or movie misunderstanding situation where she's like, I'm looking for AJ. Do you know where she is?
He was yelling at the TV.
And he was like, no, I don't know where she is. I can't locate her. And she's like, oh, you've never heard of AJ? He goes, I didn't say that. I said, I don't know where she is. And it's like, the whole point of like, and that's when I yelled. I was like, you're fucking AJ. Just tell her. We know. We got it.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
So then,
not great dialogue for Dawson's Creek, the show that is all about the dialogue.
Oh my God. And that's the other thing too. We go out into the wild world of college and it occurs to me, I discover that it's not just these kids in this little town with this erudite fucking dialogue. It's everyone. Because all of a sudden he's like, whoa, the person was, like just like fucking $10 words he's spitting out.
I would love to have heard some of those $10 words.
I don't remember what I don't remember what he said. Next time I'll write down some of this dialogue. But I get it though. It's like it grated on me at first, the dialogue. It was a problem I had with the show. But I get it. It's the style. This is not realistic dialogue. It's a stylistic dialogue.
Yeah.
Like David Mamet or something like that. Or a little bit that screenwriter that did A Few Good Men, Aaron Sorkin. He's done a couple. He's got the West Wing show or whatever, and that's same kind of thing. It's a pattern of speech that's not realistic, but it's stylized. So yeah. I get it. It's Kevin Williamson style. So after this
Asshole convinces her to stay, he immediately kicks her out of the room.
So he can continue to write his paper. For 2 hours.
Ridiculous. Like, first of all, like, yeah, he's like, you won't come back for 2 hours. I need to finish the paper. What? Like, first of all, she could be quiet, and you're rude, and just let her go fix it then.
And that's not what college is like either, by the way. Because there's no way you would ever need the room to yourself for 2 hours, buddy. 10 minutes, maybe.
Right.
AJ.
And so then she apparently signed up for now it's weird to me. Okay, this is Joey, Dawson, and Andy are together, and Jack.
Yeah, Joey, Dawson, Andy, Jack.
But Joey's the only one who we see actually interacting with other college students and the college experience stuff.
No, but Dawson kind of does, but
differently though.
Yes.
But
everything's different about Dawson.
We don't see the rest of them where they're sleeping. We don't see any of them attend any classes.
Correct, yes.
Or any, it's like it's very like each person their own little piece.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too because Andy's. I guess technically, I don't know where the fuck Andy's sleeping because I don't know that Andy's actually there for a tour. She's there to talk to the dean.
But I think she's there for a tour and is trying to sneak in an interview at the same time.
She's trying to do a two birds, one stone situation.
That was the impression I got. And then Jack and Dawson, totally different.
They interact with a niche crowd, different niches, but they interact with niche crowds.
But Joey has signed up to sit in on an English class, which, that makes sense. That's a normal usage of your time on a college campus.
Yep.
And of course, because it's TV, AJ...
The TA.
Is the TA.
AJ, TA. And he starts out, he's like, hey, we're not going to talk about great books this week. Instead, we're going to talk about great books. I thought that was weird. He's like, we're gonna curtail our discussion on the great literature to talk about what our high school guests think great literature is. And it's like, that's still a discussion on great literature.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about you, Miss Josephine Potter or whatever? What's your favorite book? Which, by the way, is not what do you think is a great book. Your favorite book and what do you think is a great book are different questions.
For sure.
But she says Little Women, and he's like, oh, class, let's fucking eviscerate Little Women.
Yeah. He's I don't like him at all. He is an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, he's nice later, but it doesn't make up for how much of an asshole he is, in my opinion.
I agree.
So yeah, he spent an entire class tearing apart the book that she said she likes, and then she goes off on him in her typical Joey fashion.
But afterwards.
After class, yeah.
What I think, I want to talk about this, though, because you like Little Women, right?
Yes, I do. I love Little Women.
So, what do you think about what they said? Like, oh, it's a non-feminist book, and she only wrote for money.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the book is about the author of the book.
Yeah.
And it's about her, like, being oppressed and trying to break out. And the fact, like, she had to publish articles under a man's name just to get published.
Yeah.
It's all about feminism but it's in that time period where feminism was not a thing.
Exactly.
So she was doing the best she could in the period she was in.
It's that, and that's the thing. Like, this annoys me about college kids in general. No offense if there are any college kids listening, but and obviously not all college kids, but the academic thought process, because I saw it in college when I was in college too. They're like, she's not feminist or whatever because of certain things that she writes about. She ends up with a man, blah, blah, blah. She gives up whatever to end up with a man. She started her own school. They gloss over that. But it's the same thing with, like, Mark Twain. I don't think in the time period that he lived, you would find a more progressive thinker that wrote, that was as famous anyway, as Mark Twain. But he used the N-word in Huckleberry Finn, right? And that's what people talk about, fucking racist shit and stuff. And it's like, I guess you just don't understand. You have no media literacy. You don't fucking understand how to read a book because it's not racist. Like, he uses that word in that book because that's the truth of the situation. That kid in that time period would use that word, and that's what would happen. The whole book is anti-racist if you read it. Like, if you read the actual shit. It's the same thing with Little Women. It's like, if you read the context of the book, it is feminist in nature. If you look at, superficial shit, maybe it's not. But if, everything has to be judged by its time period. Yeah, we got better as a society. And 25 years from now, hopefully we'll be better than we are now. Like, that's how society works.
Right. Another thing he did was somehow, without knowing her, compared her character to what was going on in the book and pointed out, like, I
you're
hadn't
both
even
named Joe.
I hadn't seen though. There are so many similarities, and I'm sure that's why they chose that book.
Yeah, and why they? I assume Kevin Williamson based a little bit of Joey on Joe March. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, I mean, she was in love with the boy next door, Lori, and the dad was away. The mom, though, wasn't dead. So
No,
she was there, and she had a lot of siblings, not just one sister.
right. That appears intermittently.
And the dad was away at war, not
Not jail.
prison. So yeah. Anyway.
But there are some similarities.
Yeah, so he calls her out for like overly identifying with the book or whatever. It's just he's an asshole.
And so then she yells at him after class and is like, "You're a fucking piece of shit," and like all this, like she stands up for herself in weird selective ways.
And she's like, and I wanted to see some of the fun part of college, but whatever. Apparently,
This cynical bullshit.
You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So then his idea of the fun part of college is to take her to the room of
It's the library.
no, but there's a room in the library that has the off limit books. What is it called?
Archives or something like that?
No, not archives.
I don't know.
I can't think of it, but it's like the special secret books, whatever. Yeah. So they had Louisa May Alcott's copy of Little Women.
Yeah, well, they say it was hers, but who knows?
And they just
looked pretty fresh.
They just pull it out of the box and start reading it and touching
gloves.
it. Like, that is not how you treat special books.
Right.
Dicks.
Why don't you underline this
right?
It speaks to me. So she's like, she explains how when she was little, her mom read it to her. Mm-hmm. It was her mom's favorite book, and that's why she's named Josephine and all this stuff and everything. And then he feels like a piece of shit, as he should.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is Little Women a great piece of literature? I would argue it deserves to be in the top 100, probably.
Yeah,
of
I
books.
think so.
Could you tear it down like they did? Sure, I could tear down lots of books.
Yeah.
I'll there are some fucking modern books that I don't think deserve to be in the top 100 of all time or whatever. I like Thomas Pynchon and stuff like that. I read what the fuck's it called? Infinite Jest, by David Foster Wallace, the late David Foster Wallace. I in general like that book more than a lot of other literary books that I've read, but I mean, I don't know that I would put it in the top 100 or whatever. It's an interesting book. There's more I like about it than I don't like about it, but it's also like a lot of quote unquote literary high-minded books. It's very self-important, and there's an attitude towards quote unquote real writers. Like they would tear apart anything written by Stephen King. Even The Shining, which is probably, I don't know if I'd put it as one of the 100 greatest books of all time, but it is a masterpiece in gothic horror. I
enjoyed The Shining quite a bit.
So, yeah, they're hyper judgmental people, and he's their ringleader.
Well, okay, so after this, apparently we don't see them anymore till the morning, but they go back to the room and just stay up all night talking.
Well, they give us that exposition as they're walking to the bus or the train or whatever the next day, and he's like, I had a good night or whatever, and she's like, we just stayed up all night talking. It's like, this is for the audience, I guess, so that we know you didn't have sex, because who would you be saying that to?
Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
So they had one of those classic college conversations where you just talk about philosophy and life for hours.
Yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we find out he's going to Cape Side.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
He's on the bus. The bus is going to Cape Side.
No, he's not.
Oh, he doesn't get on the bus?
No.
He just gives her his... Oh, yeah, she gives him her number.
Yeah.
He asked for her number.
Writes it on his hand.
And he's like, can I call you sometime? And she's like, it wouldn't suck or whatever. Yeah,
Spoilers,
that's right.
by the way. For spoilers, by the way, for every other character we meet in this episode. It's the most fucking ridiculous thing ever, but...
Okay, well, they didn't make it wholly ridiculous because at least one of them is not going to Cape Side.
still in college. Why would he be going to Cape Side? To go to Cape Side College?
Right, okay. It was dumb. Sorry.
Anyway, so who do you want to talk about next?
You pick.
Let's talk about Jack so we don't forget him.
All right. So, yeah, let's talk about
pink pages.
No, let's start with last week.
All right.
So,
What previously on Dawson's Creek?
Last week, because we completely forgot to tell you, he was getting messaged from a guy in the neighboring town.
Yeah.
Who was like, "Oh, I'm a football player who also came out, and I know what it's like." And
I don't think he was a football player, but he came out. He took a boy to prom.
Oh, that was it.
And it became like a big fucking story, and people were like, "Fuck you, burn in hell, whatever." Whatever. You know how people are. And so he's like, I can understand all this notoriety and everything, and Jack's like, "Oh, what about the guy you went to prom with?" He's like, "Oh, we're not together or whatever." It's like so that he's available. So, and Andy's like, "Go talk to this guy," because there's no other gay people in all of Cape Side apparently.
It's a very small town,
I guess.
But yeah, so he's messaging back and forth with the guy, and Andy keeps saying, you should talk to him, and eventually the guy asks him to meet for coffee, and he didn't even say yes, did he? Andy did it for him, I think.
Andy asked
the guy, okay.
And he was like, "I thought you'd never ask," or whatever. So yeah, she sets it up, and he goes to the coffee shop to meet him, and he can't go in.
Yeah, he sees him, too, through the thing. Like, and it's not like he's ugly.
No, good-looking guy.
But I think that maybe made him even more scared.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, he gets scared and leaves like a wimp.
Yeah.
Giant pussy, whatever you want to say.
I knew you were going to say it. So anyway, this week, I guess he's trying to expand his horizons, push his boundaries a little bit more, because he's got the pink pages, and everything. That's apparently how the guy found him too, is through the pink pages.
Oh, really?
That's what he said. Like, that's how he was able to message him or whatever. I don't know if this is a thing or not. I was going to, because spoilers, everyone, I'm not gay. I am married to a woman. So there's a lot of things about gay culture I do not know. And I don't know if they made this up for the show or if this is a real thing.
I bet it's real.
I don't know that we have it in our area. If it is, I don't know. But I'd never heard of it. It's interesting to me, the pink pages. So I guess that's where, like, I don't know if they submit their information. Like,
maybe
gay people, like lesbians, gay guys, if they submit their information to the pink pages and then they publish, like, it's like the white pages. They publish, so you know who's gay and who's not. I guess it makes sense. But I don't know if they made it up for the show or if it exists.
Well, he uses it to find a gay bar.
Correct.
So when they all go their separate ways, he immediately goes and gets on a bus and heads to a gay bar.
Yeah, in Boston. So we know what side of town that's on.
What do you mean?
It's not the south side. Okay. Okay. So just real quick, everybody. Boston is one of the most, like, racially, financially, and sexually segregated cities in the country.
Interesting.
For as progressive as it is, there is an area where black people live. There's an area where white people live, and there's racial tension in the city of Boston, like much more than in Detroit. Because there's racial tension in Detroit too. It's worse in Boston. And then, like gays and non-gays too, same kind of thing. Because, you see those Southie, obviously that's a stereotype or whatever. But you see those Southie guys, like, "Oh, would you one of those queers?" All that stuff.
Okay, so Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon, Southside.
Correct. Southie.
And you're saying he wouldn't be going there because he's gay and it would be safe?
Right, correct. He could get beat up.
Okay. So he goes to a gay bar, and he looks like he's going to shit his pants as soon as he walks in. I mean, he looks terrified. Like, I feel so bad. I really feel like he needs, like, a therapist or something, because he needs to work through some stuff.
He needs to come to terms with his sexuality more, I think.
Yeah. And then some dude, like, buys him a drink.
It's like, "Oh, my God, you're fucking hot. Let me buy you a drink."
And he doesn't even stay to drink it. He runs away.
Yeah.
Like, he's in that bar for, like, 5 minutes. because he realizes that, oh my God, some guy might actually be into me and I can't handle that.
I don't want to kiss. Because he says to Andy last week, he's like, it's one thing to be like the gay guy or whatever, like in Cape Side. But if I go on a date, then I'm actually gay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he knows he's not physically attracted to women. He knows he's physically attracted to guys. And he's gotten that far in admitting that to himself. But to actually experience, you know, like kissing another guy or like being intimate with another guy, that's a leap for him that he's not 100% ready to take, I don't think.
Well, he's still, he's a teenager. Not every teenager should be running around having sex either.
I'm not... did I sound like I was like...
but
saying,
I'm saying that it's okay.
Oh, fuck, Jack!
I think it's okay for him to not be emotionally ready for that.
I agree.
But I still think
I
he
think
should...
Andy was pushing a little bit too hard last week.
Yeah, well, Andy is kind of a slut. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, she had sex and, like, now her hormones are going and she just...
Exactly.
Yeah.
They turned that... Pacey turned that switch to the on position. There's no turning it off now.
But, I mean, I feel bad for him because he's so uncomfortable with himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. But, yeah, so he runs away from that situation, and that's the last we see of him. Until the end.
Till he gets on the bus.
Yeah.
And a dude sits by him.
He's like, oh, is this seat taken? He's like, I'm saving it for my friends. And then he's like, oh, you know what? I don't even know if they're fucking coming. And they don't. They do, but they don't sit by him. It's weird.
They just like walk past him like whatever.
Fuck you, Jack.
Right.
So he's like, you can sit down or whatever. And they start talking and everything. And this guy's talking about a relationship that he just got out of or whatever and stuff. And he's like, he says him at one point. And Jack's like, oh.
Yeah, he like really gets real interested real fast.
He's like, oh, you didn't pick up on it, like,
went under the gaydar.
Everyone says I'm the straightest like gay guy ever, and he's like, oh yeah, and he's like, do you get that a lot? You pass a lot for being straight, and he's like, how could you tell? He's like, fuck, I knew right away, like. So they have like this flirtation or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" And like he's like, "I'm gonna stay with my dad," or I don't know. He says something. I need to get out of the city. I'm going, to this little town or whatever. Where are you going? I'm going to this little town called Cape Side. It's like, oh, fucking, of course you are.
So there'll be another gay guy in Cape Side now.
Yeah, like it seems like this trip was just like let's gather a bunch of new characters.
Right.
We killed some characters off. We need to add 3 new fucking characters because I'll bet you that AJ asshole's coming back too. Because Joey got his number.
Yeah.
Or gave
him her number.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where his storyline ends. Something's gonna happen with this gay guy probably. Then Dawson does the most Dawson thing ever.
Dawson is there.
Oh, wait. Real quick, Andy. Andy talks to Marla Gibbs.
Oh, yeah.
From 227. For, not the same character. From 227 for, fucking, I don't know. The whole episode.
Yeah, Andy annoyingly is stalking the dean of admissions. Mm-hmm. She when they first got off the bus, she's so excited. She's like, "Oh, I've always known I was going to go here." She's like, "Early admission, class of 2005," which obviously not early admission, class of 2005, because she's still waiting to see if she can even get an interview.
Correct. Yeah.
So, what the fuck is she talking about? She's so annoying.
Class of 2005. That means that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. Because they're supposed to be sophomores or juniors. Juniors. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So 2005 would be her bachelor's. Graduation.
Yeah. College. Yeah.
Well, they'll be graduating next year.
Be right. In 2000. Yeah.
Because they'll have their senior year will be 2000, 2001.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got
it. Okay. But so she goes to the dean's office and asks if he's available. And the lady's like, "Do you have an appointment?" She's like, yeah. And she looks and it's like in fucking March.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can't get in because fucking people made appointments. See all these people? And she looks around. There's no one else there.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. There was never anyone else around.
No, because they didn't want to pay for other extras. They had to pay for a whole fucking crowd at the film festival. So
right. So, yeah. So she spends a lot of time talking to the secretary because she won't just give up and accept that she's not going to get an interview with the dean and she has to come back in March.
Yeah. And the secretary is basically just like, hey, think about this. Being happy and stuff like that doesn't mean like you go to fucking the most prestigious school in the world or whatever. Like, that's not happiness. And, you know, maybe you shouldn't pursue these things that don't matter. And, like, you know, just because your mom couldn't get over your brother's death doesn't mean you can't too.
Yeah, they had some real deep conversations.
They had some deep conversations off camera.
Yeah.
Because, like, we get Marla Gibbs's Mary from 227. We get a lot of her, like, homespun wisdom and stuff like that, but it's all information she learned off screen because it's information we already know.
Yeah.
So it was somewhat interesting, but whatever. I mean, it wasn't like that big part. It wasn't that big of a part of the story, and I don't know. It didn't make a huge impact on me.
No, and every single character is just completely sequestered from each other the whole time, and it's fucking weird, and I didn't really love that part.
Well, it's weird, too, because they intentionally all go in separate directions from the quad. So it's like, I guess it's the show telling us, hey, these are separate stories now.
Yeah, well, they were.
And I thought he was going to... She mentioned Sundance, which is a film festival started by Robert Redford that takes place in Colorado. And I thought he was going to Colorado. They were going to the school or whatever. He was going to Colorado. But no, he was just going to a film festival at the school.
Yeah, I never got the impression he was going to Sundance, and you kept saying it, and I was really confused. So.
Well, I was confused because she was like, oh, have fun in Sundance or whatever. But I guess she was saying that derisively.
Yeah. So apparently it was just a, like, film festival at the college. Mm-hmm. Not even for college students, I don't think, though, because I think the other girl's also a high school student.
She is, yes.
So whatever. Like, what was he there for the college at all? I don't know,
because all he did was go to this film festival. And that's the thing is, like, are these the film students or aspiring film students or whatever?
Maybe.
I don't know. But he enters his stupid fucking Blair Witch Project short
rip off,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
Witch Island.
Thank you. Witch
That's
Island.
all it was called, was Witch Island.
And he gets, like, very unenthusiastic reaction at the end of the movie. And people were, like, making fun of the fact that it was, like, the Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm. Been there, done that, someone says.
Yeah. So, and honestly, it was a stupid choice.
Agreed. He could have anything. He could have done anything.
And prior to this, he had seen a very beautiful girl who reminds me of, if it's not the same actress, she looks a lot like the same actress who played one of the Slayers on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. So there's a attractive black woman who becomes, because if you don't listen, I'll give you a real quick lesson in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you don't listen to Slayer Talk, but you should watch the show and listen to Slayer Talk. At one point in season 1, Buffy dies briefly and is brought back to life, like through CPR or whatever. Amazing this never happened to any other Slayers, by the way. And when one Slayer dies, another one takes its place. It's like the Dalai Lama. So there were two Slayers. This new Slayer took her place, but didn't take her place. Just was like slaying throughout the world, basically.
Yeah, well, she was somewhere in South America.
Yeah, and she's this attractive black woman, and she looks a lot like the attractive black woman that's on this episode.
Yeah,
I think it may be the same actress.
But she, I'm trying to remember exactly what all she says to Dawson. Like she tries to offer him some like constructive criticism about his movie.
Yeah, she's like, look, like, because she's the one that's checking everyone in. Mm-hmm. We don't know that she has a film in the competition.
Spoilers.
But she does. But she's checking everyone in and everything, and she's kind of like a little snarky with them or whatever at the beginning. Like, oh, okay, Blair Witch.
They're flirting a little bit.
Yeah, and then after they screen his film, and everyone's like that, like it's. No one likes the movie, and he comes up for question and answers. No one has any questions.
God, that's got to be the worst.
So he's like completely humiliated, and she's like, so, you got some talent and stuff like that, but like it's and she's like it was stupid to do a Blair Witch Project thing, like to ride off the coattails of something like successful and stuff like that, and like you're better than that. And she was like, and what's even more disturbing is that we don't get any exploration of the Joey character and like I guess Dawson and their relationship or whatever in your movie, and that's the most interesting thing about your movie.
She didn't say character because it's a documentary. She said you and Joey, and what were you to each other? Friends, lovers? Didn't you get that was the most important?
Right.
Yeah. So it's like I think she understands that this was a real relationship.
And he's like, oh, well, fuck you, like, basically. And so then we see her film. Well, we don't actually see her film.
We see his reaction to it.
Yeah, and the guy next to him is like, oh, this is the fucking best thing ever. Look at this. It's shot so well.
Yeah. And Dawson looks like he's having like a orgasm or something in the chairs there. So.
And afterwards, she's like, so what'd you think? Constructive criticism only, and stuff. He's like, it was technically good.
Yeah, what a dick. What a dick. His didn't do as well as hers, so he's got to like guard his criticism, his compliments. He can't just be nice.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be that hers was technically sound because the guy was like, "Oh my god, who shot this? This is the best thing, the best shot thing here, or whatever." And he was talking about like all the technical aspects of it. I thought it was going to be a situation where it was like she was technically superior to him as far as filming goes, and he was better at like the story, emotional part, and they could combine forces. I thought that's what was going to happen, but it just turns out that her film was just the best one. According to him later.
That would have been a good idea.
But she's like, he's like, yeah, it was technically good, and she's like, oh, great, thanks, like And then they have the prize, everyone gets the prize, and somebody else wins, not Dawson, not Hot Black Girl. Somebody else wins, and she storms out.
Yeah, which is really awful because like you got to get thicker skin and be used to like not winning all the time. Like,
oh shit!
Even if you think yours was the best, you don't get up and walk out when someone else wins.
Right? Fucking Born on the 4th of July. Tom Cruise doesn't win an Oscar. Probably should have. Did he just like stand up and like run out of the Oscars?
No, they sit there and smile and clap. That is what you're supposed to do.
Well, I guess she's not an actress.
I guess.
But anyway, so he comes out there and everything, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And like, he's like, "Your movie was the best.
You were robbed."
Yeah, that was. And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "It wasn't just technically. It was the best thing I've ever seen." And like, you moved people, and like that's what filmmaking's all about. And you moved me.
Yeah, he apparently was really in love with her movie, but didn't want to tell her for whatever fucked up prideful reason.
Exactly. And she kind of calls him out on that.
Yeah.
And he's like, we learn different lessons. I learned that I need to say something more personal and be more like whatever, like personally connect to the medium and stuff like that. By the way, this was just a documentary made to get a grade in a class, so like, whatever. History class.
Right.
And he's like, you learned that the film industry isn't always about the best. It's not a meritocracy. Who knows why the other person won or whatever? Maybe he was fucking the judges. I don't know.
Maybe.
But that's what happens with them. And she's like, "Oh my god, you thought I was good."
And then guess who's on the bus back to Cape Side?
She's on the bus. Oh, I'm gonna fucking go live with my dad because of divorced parents, and my parents are divorced too. It sucks, right? And like, she's like, "I'm going to live with my dad now." Where's he live? Cape Side. This little town called Cape Side. I'm going to Cape Side High. He's your fucking principal, Dawson.
Yeah.
I got into the film class that you had to beg, borrow, and steal to get into because my daddy's the principal.
And he acts like there was some other reason for that. Like, obviously it's because her dad's a principal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been getting private tutoring or whatever. I don't even know he did that. I think that guy's molesting her.
Right.
But anyway, so like, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. We meet 3 new characters, and 2 of them are going to Cape Side.
And one of them's at least going to call Joey.
100%.
So
this is the college experience. Me coming over to your house, and you give me a blowjob.
I hate him.
I don't like him either. It's Discount Dawson. Oh my god.
He's like smaller than Dawson too.
It's excited to think Dawson could beat the shit. Yo, it's funny. Dawson started out as kind of tinier, but like he has fucking grown into like a monster man.
Yeah.
I think he got big for that movie Varsity Blues.
Oh, I didn't think about
he
that.
gained muscle for that, and I think he's just continued to fill out.
That makes
Because
sense.
it used to be like, oh, Dawson's like that scrawny like kid in like high school that like you root for and stuff like that, and now he's like looks like the bully. He looks like the bully in any 80s movie.
Right.
When you're talking to my girl, I can just see him saying that. But that's the episode for the week, Carol. Tell people where they can find their own coming to Cape Side resident.
You can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.